Can everyone hear me? Cool. So, welcome back to week number 5. As you can see, I'm not by myself today. There is a guest speaker that I told you about that is going to be coming this week and sharing with you their entrepreneurial journey and some of the challenges that they faced. They also started their enterprise almost straight after they graduated, which, by the way, they graduated this particular university, and they were taking the same particular module as you're taking just now as well. So very close to home, and he's very beloved consultant. He engages a lot with the generator as well in the capacity of a consultant. Supports a lot of our students as well, always willing to share and come forward with any advice or guidance. Hence why he's also here. And he does it, it's what time is it that you're doing this? Maybe third, fourth time that you're coming. The 6th time he's coming back and delivering something around entrepreneurial journey. Every year it's probably some different topic that he's asked to deliver, but nevertheless, that's how valuable he is to us. Okay. At the end, when Dragos is done, I want you to engage with him in the Q&A. I don't want to see the room silent. So listen to his story, listen to what he has to say, and then try to think of some questions. Maybe something that you found curious, but you need a bit more clarity. Maybe you need a bit more information as to what journey he's taken. He's very, very knowledgeable. He's very resourceful. Again, remember about networking, what I told you in the past few weeks. So also, by the way, he's one of the people that have helped to co-create this module. So remember I told you that during the summer we were co-creating and changing this module. He's one of the people that have helped to create this module to how you see it today. So that's Dragos. He will speak to you in a second. Also, before I'll give the microphone to him, I will be walking around the room to making sure that it's silent, okay? Because I need to have an environment that is quiet, that you can hear what Dragos is saying, that he can hear himself, and also, guys, the ones that are coming in late, please settle down. Quietly come in and sit and take a seat. So try to stay silent, but if I see or hear anyone not being silent, I will come and I'll stand right next to you. Also, at the end of this tutorial, of this lecture, I will be giving you a QR code to fill out the early module feedback. So something that we collect throughout the middle of the term, roughly. So again, to obtain some feedback from you to see how are you getting on. And if there is anything that needs to be done to kind of support your understanding, support your learning, support your journey. Okay, so everyone is settled down. So this is Dragos. I'll pass microphone to him, and he is in your hands for the next 40-ish minutes. Like I said, there will be a Q&A opportunity at the end, so please take advantage of that. Okay, and try to enjoy it. It's something different, something new, something very exciting, something very practical. So please learn, engage, network, and yeah, enjoy it. Okay.
Hello, everybody. I have to get used to a mic, haven't used one yet. My name is Dragos, and I am an alumni of Greenwich University. I've graduated in 2021, finished the same modules as yourselves, and went straight on into opening my business, my first business, which is a traditional honey business. My family, they are basically generational beekeepers, and they struggle to sell their honey because, it's one thing to be a producer, it's one thing to be a distributor. So when I graduated with all the instruments that I've learned at Greenwich University, I've decided to actually put them into practice and to become a honey distributor. So effectively, I purchase the honey, our main initial product, which was acacia honey. I purchase it from my own family, jar it, label it, and distribute it within the United Kingdom. And this is how it started. Now, traditionally, I've over the years, I've been presenting the same business and its growth. Every time I came back to Greenwich, there's been something different about the business that happened in, compared to the year before. This year, I'm going to share everything that went wrong. So I'm just going to showcase a little bit the business and how, kind of what the journey was. And then I will tell you all the things that went wrong and all the kind of weird and bad experiences that I've had over time. So in terms of the purest sense, we try to be quality driven. We really care about the environment, and we would like to educate our customers to do the same. So the entire business is focused around achieving these objectives. There's only 3 people working within the company. I have a CMO or a CTO, basically a marketing and technical officer manager, and a social media manager, and myself. Everything else, all the other services are effectively contracted to freelancers, some of which are actually graduates of Greenwich University. The process of the business is actually it was quite simple when I started. I didn't know where to put my hands on. I didn't know where to, what was the next step half the time. So just to break it down for you of how my first year looked, basically they harvested the honey over the summer. We designed labels, purchased them, shipped them to Romania, where my family lives, and we purchased jars. We sent them over. They've then had to jar put the honey into the jars. It's called jarring. And attach the labels to the jars, put them into boxes. I then had to organize all the financial, import documents and all of that, which was a crazy experience, and then transport it into my house for the first year. And then we just created our website. We worked really hard to build organic traffic over time. And then every day, after work, I would go home, see if we have any orders. I would have to pack them, write nice cards, sign them personally, and then ship them to clients the next morning. Based on the sales that we've had month after month, we had more money to invest into marketing and repeat. And that was how it looked 3 years ago. At the moment, we also purchased a variety of products from the United Kingdom, from different beekeepers in the UK, and a few in Europe. We certify the honey, so we make sure that our standards are respected. I don't ship the products myself anymore. We have a distribution center in Birmingham that does effectively our main operations. So warehouse, jarring, packaging, entire distribution. We continue to be a website, like an online brand only. We haven't yet. We've tested into stores. It went very, very well. We would like to expand globally online before we go into partnering with wholesalers or other distribution channels. And once again, based on the sales that we have, we earn more money, we invest more in marketing, we buy more stock, and repeat. The model of business is not very complicated, and it can be applied to many other products. So these are the core values that we have. Again, like I've mentioned previously. In terms of the sustainability, which is, again, very dear to me, we are plastic free, which took a lot of work and effort, and we had to test different types of packaging. We had to test different types of jars. Plastic jars basically never break. Glass jars do, and especially honey being incredibly heavy, we had to accept a standard jar of 280 grams of weight. We tried to test large as you see in the supermarket, 0.5 kilogram. They broke half the time. So we decided just to stick with a standard product for the time being. In terms of fillers, you normally find bubble wrap or other plastic, alternatives. You do have some paper as well that you can use. There's this kind of carton sheets that you can put around jars that are incredibly expensive at an industrial level. So what we ended up doing, we realized we had a lot of carton from our process, from transportation, from Amazon packages. So we decided to trim it. So we trim all the waste, carton waste that we have, and we effectively transform it into fillers. This is just to give an idea of the orders that we've had in 2023 across the UK. Analysis is very, very important. For example, understanding where your customers live is very, very important, because, for example, when you do ads online, if you have an online business, you can then focus your ads into more specific areas where you see that your kind of hot zones are, which for us, it's London area and the Midlands. Success, a little bit of a success story. We've had plenty over the last 3 years. The greatest we've had this year is we've actually been featured in 3 different Vogue magazines, in Vogue's Great Taste, in the Hot List, and in the Summer Hamper, which it's not for free. None of these, you are offered the opportunity to be featured, but if you want to be featured, you have to pay. So getting the opportunity is incredibly hard, because they select who they want to work with. You cannot reach out to a magazine like Vogue to do that. So that was a privilege, but it was quite expensive to be featured in the magazine. We have some very interesting partnerships. Gone West is one of them. They're one of the largest tree planting companies in the world. We were their first commercial partner, and we are selling our honey on their platform. For every jar that we sell, we actually plant a tree. So we donate about 15% approximately of our revenue to them, and it's included in the price. So in terms of just sell it full price, and that extra margin of discount goes into planting trees. And a partnership that I'm very proud of is with London Pulse. They're one of the 8 Super League team of netball in the United Kingdom. They've been our partners for 3 years. Since I started my first year, we managed to get this amazing partnership, and we basically support each other both in marketing efforts and in newsletters. I spread a word about the team and what the team does and all their contributions towards the social impact that the team has. And in exchange, I'm an official partner, and they basically advertise my company to their fans. In terms of the website, obviously, I don't know exactly how much knowledge all of you have, obviously, about websites, but one of the many very, very important things to have is reviews, and usability is another very important component. We have to make sure that everyone can navigate the website easily. And as a consumer, you have to put yourself in a consumer's shoes and understand, what is it that I would like if I want to buy a jar of honey? What information is it that I'm going to look for, right? You're going to look for reviews. You're going to look to see if there's any discounts, any benefits, health benefits. And we tried our best to do that. We have, I forgot to update this one, actually. We have over 50 5-star reviews. We have received only a 1-2-star review. A customer complained about the price, which is legit. In terms of the blog, search engine optimization is incredibly important if you don't want to spend much on advertising. You can continuously discuss what your business is doing. You can discuss about topics that would answer customers' queries, and that will attract traffic to your website. The technical work behind it is quite complex, and it's taken me. I'm still learning, so I can't say I'm dominating that, which is why I'm actually paying someone to do the work. But I'm still learning. I'm trying to get there. Within 1 year, we were first in all our name variations, and we'll talk a little bit more about the name very soon. In terms of SEO, we were first and second. We've managed to reach first for 1 month. It is Healthline, the website, so they don't actually sell anything. But as a selling company, we were the first one on Google for acacia honey, which is one of my main, it is my main product, until something happened. I'm going to share this with you soon. The cost of honey, to give you a breakdown from a producer perspective, I have additional costs to this, but the basic rundown is that's how when I started. So in my first year, I used to buy a jar of honey for £2.45 and sell it for £9. There are many other costs involved, but to give an idea, this is how it looks like for a pack of 3, which has, for example, free shipping. Overall, per jar, I was going home with a little under £5. Now the fun bit, the things that went wrong. What do you see here? What observations can you make from this page? Anybody? Good point. Good point. Honey is an incredibly saturated market. Every beekeeper wants to open his own business. Fun fact: these are, I think, only one of them is a honey company. So basically, the first, I was just very attached to the name, Honeybee & Co. when we've opened this, Honeybee and Company. Now, an interesting story behind this is I wanted the company to be called Honeybee & Company. When we began the business, even if we didn't sell anything for quite a few months, I didn't consider that we still had to declare what we've sold to the government. And it's lessons learned. I had no idea. I knew there was some accounting to be done. In my head, I presumed, well, if I'm not selling anything, I don't have to do anything. So I didn't open quite a few letters that I received from the government, and we were fined substantially, a few £1,000s, which obviously would have killed the business before even starting to do anything. So we had to shut down the business, discuss the error with HMRC, and reincorporate under a different name, which is now Honeybee Collective Ltd is the official name, trading as Honeybee & Co. So the biggest mistake that we've done in terms of choosing the name is that there are many other companies with similar names or with the same exact name. Because it was available on the government page, the company house page, we believed, well, other companies, won't have it. But it is not true for company names that have natural products in their name. You cannot call a company water. You can put something around water, but nobody is ever going to be able to trademark that. So these names are not trademarkable, which is basically, there's one company that just got one of my domains, .shop, and they're selling honey. They've literally they're trying to get something off my business, which makes it incredibly difficult to go around it. But because of the efforts that we are doing in marketing and we've done in SEO, we think we are good to establish ourselves as first results on Google. I chose the wrong logo twice. So initially, when I was designing a logo for my business, I really liked this one. We had a few of them. We discussed it with my business partner. We really liked this first one. We then decided, someone advised us not to do the mistake and actually go and do a test. So we've called friends, family, and we went on the street as well, and we've asked people to fill up surveys. And in the end, we had over 100 people, 100 surveys completed, and about 92% of them, out of 10 different logos, liked my second one. And we already had business cards, we had hoodies with the logo made. It was just something exciting in starting a business. So we had to, even the website was designed with this logo. So we had to replace all of that and redesign the logo. Now, does anyone see an error in the second logo? No? So the co or company should be with a capital C and a dot afterwards. Now, when we reincorporated a company, we called it Honeybee Collective. So in my obviously student aligned mentality and an inexperienced person kind of a vision, I could just put Honeybee and Collective with a small c. Obviously, that was very, very wrong. And I think we've had about 12, 13% of our customers letting us know that. So customers would not see that. They wouldn't know the company was incorporated differently. And we've received a few sustainability awards this year, and they've mentioned that to us as well. So at the moment, we're going through a full rebranding, and this logo is going to change probably within 6 weeks. Them are very expensive. And this is why it's very, very important to look at all the elements of a business before you actually start doing anything that might implicate money. Right, my obviously finished university, big debt to pay. I was looking for business partners. One of my best friends owned a restaurant in London, and he had experience with food. And I looked for his advice. He was very interested, and he said, "Oh, I'd like to be part of this business." And then I required a lot of funding. And one day the landlord came to see the house where I was living, and basically she asked, "What is with all the honey in the house?" I explained, and she said, "This is amazing. I would like to be part of this." Now, I was very excited. I had the money. I had the correct partner to do the business. Worst mistake I could have done. With the friend, the moment we had to pay £5,000 to our suppliers, he went on holiday and turned his phone off for 5 weeks. We had deadlines. His restaurant was left abandoned to that point. We're still best friends, by the way. But business-wise, I had to find the money to pay our suppliers. I could not start a business without our first supplier. Basically, we couldn't pay them. So wrongfully again, and asked, right, how about I break the relationship with the first business partner and you get the slack, you get the shares, but you also pay the amount of money he has to pay because I don't have it right now. And she said, absolutely, I'm going to do that. I want half the business. And she received almost half the business, 45% of the business at a time. I've recently purchased 31% of her shares back, and it cost me 2 years more than what I've paid for all my costs in the business for 2 years. It just cost me more than that to buy back 31%. So again, very, very careful who you do business with, because she did not help afterwards. She gave me the money to launch it, but she wanted to be a dormant investor. I needed help. I needed an active business partner. The moment the business started rolling and sales started coming in, I had a full-time job. It was incredibly difficult to merge all of this by myself. I was packing until 1 o'clock in the morning. It is only doable until a certain moment in time. And that was a definitely a very important lesson. And it took 3 years for this to kind of end. The first stock I purchased, I had probably about £5,000 that I stacked over a period of 11 months to open this business, and very excited. The website's going to cost not that much. You know, I've put together a plan, wrong plan. I bought stock. I bought 1,000 jars for about £3,000, and by the time the website was ready, my remaining £2,000 were gone. And I had no money for ads or marketing. And that was a very, very bad mistake. Now the batches that I'm buying of honey from other producers is 300 max, because the more types of honey you have, clients might be inclined to buy 1 jar of each rather than let's buy it all from one type. I got my boxes wrong. So I just like the concept of 3 jars of honey. when I opened it. I tried different size boxes. I tried the weight. I didn't realize that Royal Mail had a specific pricing for under 2 kilograms. And in my, considering how heavy 2 kilograms is of honey, and it's glass jars, and the packaging was a little bit sensitive, I thought, well, it's too heavy. I'm going to put three works for me, either 1 jars or 3 jars. Big mistake, because we're losing money with every 3-pack that we sell. We should have done 4 straight away. It still keeps the weight under 2 kilograms. It just requires a little bit more carton. On the packs of 3, we have free shipping. On the packs of 4, we have free shipping. So at the moment, it would have been more beneficial for us to have a pack of 4. We still don't have one. We are now rebuilding the entire process of how we do things. But again, this was a simple mistake, but in the long run, after you sell a few thousand jars, you can see that margin, you can see that loss. Right. I've showed you earlier that our company was first on Google for acacia honey. This was last year. Most of our keywords, we were, especially for the types of honey that we sell, we're front page. We ended up beating some of the biggest names in the United Kingdom. And then, so this is kind of the previous graph that the previous results that I've shown you. So I start from when I started a business up until 2023. We've had a decent growth, constant growth, organic, and then AI came to be, and we did not inform ourselves quickly enough on what AI actually means and what it does to a business. So even if we've had an amazing growth in terms of, we've more than doubled the traffic to our the clicks towards our website over the past 16 months, almost triplicated the total amount of impressions, and our average position went from 23 to 15 across all the massive lists of keywords that we have, which is, again, very good result. But we've had a significant drop compared to August 2023 last year. And this is all due to AI. AI is redefining the game. Many clients now go and type straight into a research, into the search bar, and they ask an AI, which is a good honey I can buy, right? Instead of actually Googling and researching different websites and trying to read about them, they just ask an AI, what can you tell me about these 2 types of honey? Which one's the best? What way should I buy it from and why? And that all those answers are being given from information that you've provided on the website. So over the past week, we've been working really hard to make sure that we have all of that information across the board on every page on the website for AI to pick it up. And we're studying how this is actually going to impact the business. But we didn't do it on time, and we've probably lost a significant amount of money this year just by not doing that. This is the accounting story about us getting fined with the name. Again, we've learned about accounting at university, how it works, why it's important. But when you open your own business, there are many things that you need to really, really dive into to understand how accounting has to be done and how it can benefit also your business. In my case, I didn't open VAT straight away on advice from other people who had restaurants, who had other businesses, and they had to pay VAT. But Honey Hat is 0 rated VAT. If I would have opened VAT straight on since day one, the only thing I had to do was submit it every 3 months. But I would have been able to get back the costs of all my, like 20% back of all the costs of all the expenses that I've had with suppliers, with distribution, and everything else. So that was, again, a very, very bad mistake. This is me, in case you're going to want to have a look. This is kind of our business model, in case this helps you in any way. And yeah, I hope you're going to have some questions. Thank you. What we do mainly is to help the beekeepers that can't commercialize their own honey. So we've had propositions from very large honey producers that do tonnage in the range of 80 tons a year minimum, would have at a very good price for us to buy the honey from them and distribute it. And we said, no, we want to help those beekeepers that are just beekeepers. They're farmers, and in order for them to sell their honey, they have to go to a Christmas market. They have to go to a weekend market physically and spend their entire weekend there. So the 5 beekeepers that we have at the moment from the UK, they're all small, medium farmers that have never commercialized their honey. So I think if this model is applied across Europe initially, which is our next step, it will benefit not only small farmers, but the environment. Because in the sugar production, sugar canes are desertifiers. So if you consume a lot of sugar, production of sugar has to increase, and sugar canes are desertifiers. It kills forests, it kills the earth underneath it. Bees, on the other hand, it actually helps the environment. It helps nature thrive. So imagine, that's how I imagined when I opened the business. I just imagine all the small little spots and dots across Europe where we're helping, because we're helping those beekeepers and those farms thrive, and they have more bees. We're then helping the environment around them thrive. And I think that's our main kind of USP. Sorry, say again. Because I care. Honestly, it's because I care. And again, the 2-star review that we had is that the honey is expensive. It was just a simple decision. You know, we care about the environment. We want to make an impact, and I think everyone can have an impact on the day-to-day basis by just making sustainable choices. And yeah, it was just a executive decision. Just online. Just online. And we're going to replicate that model. We have a subscription-based model as well as, so if you want to buy a jar, you can. If you want to subscribe, you get a discount and you get it delivered to you regularly. Now, this really helps with the honey purchase, because honey is only produced during summer. So if we have, with a subscription model, we can get an estimate of how many jars we're going to sell the next year. And this is how we buy our stock every year. So we think the online is really good. Unfortunately, with supermarkets, is very complicated. First of all, because the margin is very low. The supermarket needs to earn their own margin. We already buy it from beekeepers. So that's already, it's quite expensive, and our margins are quite low. If we sell it then to stores as well, our margin becomes significantly lower. And it's unforeseeable. You might have a person traveling and buying 10 jars, and then you might have 10 jars sitting on the shelf for a month. Fortunately, honey is not one of those products, and I think you can all agree with me that you wake up in the morning and you say, I need to get a jar of honey today, and you will leave the house to go and buy a jar of honey. Honey tends to be a product, if it's salt, trust me, you will leave the house and you will go and buy salt. But if it's honey, you might just see it on the shelf and say, well, actually, I'm going to get a jar of honey. It's more that kind of a product. So we needed a way to be able to forecast stock, and that was we believe for the time being this really works for us. We're not saying we don't want to do that, but it involves a completely different operations process that we've studied, but at the moment we just thought it's not viable. All of it. Absolutely all of it. The image that we've created represents us. Marketing is everything. Without marketing, we have no visibility. Without good pictures, for example. So we've in our second year, we've invested in several photo shoots, professional photo shoots of our products. which attracted companies like Vogue to actually say, oh, interesting. They actually have something to offer. And just to let you know, we've actually been offered the full array of magazines. So from GQ magazine and all the others, it's just we need to take it one step at a time, because unfortunately for a small business, these expenses are absolutely crazy. But the right type of marketing is what builds a brand. So absolutely, our efforts in promoting an online business is all marketing. Go ahead. So it's not just a business. I want to make a difference with this company. I want to make an impact. I want to work with all countries, and I will sell it for their value. And I am purchasing at the moment from, my parents are in Romania, and I get the British honey from England. I have partners in Greece, France, and Italy at the moment. So we're looking at some exotic honeys like cotton blossom, which is incredibly rare. Sorry? Yeah. I'm not sure I can bring you. The problem with the further away you go from the UK, the less regulated honey is, and it's already an incredibly complicated product to control. It's the third most falsified food in the world. It's that hard to check. We need to run analysis on every single batch from every single producer, and it costs hundreds of pounds every single time we buy a new batch. So working with partners from abroad is complicated because we don't know what batch they're sending us. We cannot go to every single supplier and get a batch of honey. They might send us a good batch that we can test and then send us a diluted honey. So it's a complicated product to work with. So we're taking it one step at a time, trusted partners. We analyze everything that, declarations, we have them sign that they certify that the entire batch is what it is. So it's just how complicated it is. It's a very good question, but yeah, we just try to expand a little bit at a time, and we do want to work with all countries in Europe for the time being. Go ahead. If my family what, sorry? It's not just about the honey. I am at the moment building two more businesses, and I have already opened a second business on this based on the same model. So I really like lavender as a product. I created a business plan. I wanted to find really good quality lavender. I went to the largest producer in Europe of lavender is Moldavia. I went to Moldavia. I found a very good supplier. I went to Italy and I found a factory that can create the packaging that I wanted and can certify its quality. Italy has some very good chemical labs. And then, yeah, I created another brand that I'm now selling internationally. So it is a type of business that I'm trying to replicate, and it's not dependent just on the honey. I believe honey represents me the most. Go ahead. I've always wanted to open a business, and I've tried several times. I tried to do phone cases. I used to sell golf balls to golfers. I used to sell